Welcome everybody to night 2 of our SDU Halloween extravaganza. And as you can see, I really put a lot of effort into dressing up. I paused for applause right there, but oh wait. So yeah, this is about as close as it's going to get because it's freaking cold in my office. But I am not alone for cryptids and creepy stuff. I have the werewolf extraordinaire and our top researcher, Bruce.
Oh!
Holy crap, that was loud. I can barely see you. You hiding in the dark, man? Oh, Lord have mercy.
I can't breathe in that thing.
Right. I think the only reason why this is actually okay is because it's keeping my face warm. So
right?
Yeah,
you could
come out of this thing too.
Your beard is long enough that you could take it and wrap it over your head.
I thought about using it as a face mask at one point.
Oh, that mask is cool. There's his beautiful mug.
Now.
There's his beautiful mug.
My headphone don't work right. There we go. Let me put this thing back on because my head is cold. I might have to get a little heater or something out here. It is freaking cold.
Right, yeah. Mother Nature in Arkansas. Mother Nature in Arkansas just said, screw you guys, screw hoodie weather, screw bonfire weather. We're going right into freaking blistering cold.
Like right now where I'm at, it is 36 degrees, clear and cloudy. Wait, those are contradictions. Never mind. Anyway, we got a good episode for you tonight. You gotta get a heated beanie. Yeah, I know.
Right.
We have got a good little old episode tonight. This is episode 8, and we are talking about in Arkansas, the Cotter Bridge. Mark said they got snow last night. That's because you freaking live in New York, dude.
Right,
it's a hot day if it gets to 30. So
well, where I'm at, it's 41 and clear. So
if I do like that, I can't see though. So makes my head look big.
I'm about to break out the pizza onesie, y'all. I do this weird thing where like, yeah, dude. So I do this weird thing. Well, the wife has this weird tradition where like every Christmas season she gets me a onesie.
Say you got a lot of scrap wood to burn.
Oh yeah.
Well, I got heaters in the house, but my little office is not in my house. And right now it's just extension cords with power strips, and I don't want to like burn this thing down. You know, I have a hard enough time with my internet, much less the electricity. So
right. Hey, look, that's a crazy good point, Mark. It's interesting.
The White River focal point of a lot of stuff.
So there are some people in the comment section that got to catch night 1 of the Halloween extravaganza and got the esteemed pleasure of being introduced to Beetle Bruce.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch all of it. I did get to see some clips because again, my internet is garbage.
Right.
But yeah, that was pretty cool.
I
To
had
see.
I had an absolute blast doing that and dressing up. And Austin Bolo was a really good special guest.
Yeah.
Very insightful. Everybody with ADHD, our stories are the same and different. So
And all over
that's
the
the thing that
place.
and all over the place. Yeah, we had a whole lot of caveats, a whole lot of a lot of squirrel chasing went on last night.
Debbie said it. Great. Mark was like, Beetle Bruce is real cool.
Yep, yep.
Oh, so you
Um,
dive off into this bridge thingy-majigger?
yeah, we could jump right in. What's going on, Paul? So, the Cotter Bridge, officially known as the
Oh,
RM.
did you fix your privacy settings?
Yep.
All right, cool.
I set a reminder to do that. I'm not as tech savvy as I should be, but I did set a reminder on my phone, and while the intro was playing, I went ahead and popped on there and fixed my
Gotcha.
notifications or my
And I will
privacy settings.
apologize. I will
Weird.
apologize to people if my internet, if our picture starts pixelating a little bit. I am again. I don't have great signal where we're at. So, but anyway, go ahead, Bruce.
Right on. Okay, so the Cotter Bridge, officially known as the R.M. Ruthven Bridge, since December 31st of 1976. So if you're an east-west traveler and you're traveling through northern Arkansas, often encountered. Let's see here. Crap. Hold on. I forgot to do the important things. Bear with me, ladies and gents.
Oh, that's fine. Debbie, I've got CenturyLink, but where I live out in the middle of nowhere, so we don't get high speed internet out here at all. So yeah, it's unless I wanted to go to like satellite stuff, but that stuff is expensive. So,
Overlay
huh?
the pictures.
Yes.
Okay,
Overlay.
cool. Yeah, sorry about that, ladies and gents. So, David, if you wanna take back over the beginning section,
All right.
I'll get this up real
Uh,
quick. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
East and west travelers through northern Arkansas have often encountered problems crossing the White River. Though ferries operated at several places along the river had a tendency to flood rapidly, grounding the ferries and hindering traffic sometimes for days. The fastest detour to cross the river was 100 miles north in Branson, Missouri. So, yeah. So, Dr. J. Morrow and the Honorable J.C. Floyd got an act passed in 1912 allowing for a bridge to be built in Cotter, Arkansas. But no funds were available. So in 1927, two bridge companies, Henderson Bridge Company and Denton Bridge Company, were granted franchises for three privately owned toll bridges. However, as the highway system was being organized, federal and state legislators turned against the bridge companies, and again, nothing was built. So, yeah. So, in other words, we were having a hell of a time getting these bridges built. Otherwise, you got to detour all the way into Missouri. That's dumb.
Right.
Uh, Again, in 1927, the Arkansas Department of Transportation obtained approval to place 9 toll bridges throughout the state. Baxter County Judge R.M. Ruthven pushed to add Cotter to the list of proposed bridge sites, but before a proposed site could be approved, and a feasibility study, including traffic count, was necessary. The Cotter study took place in June of 1928. Allegedly, did not justify a bridge there. So here we just getting started. And this place is cursed by not even wanting to be built. So
right.
You got your map pulled up yet?
Yeah. So here's the location of the R.M. Ruthven.
See, Bruce is slacking.
Yeah, I'm slacking. That dot up there in the top little middle section right there, that is Cotter, Arkansas. Roughly the center of that dot is exactly where the Cotter Bridge is located.
Funny people just evil Knievel it and jump the river.
Right.
Well, then it might have been a little bit more haunted. Oh. You good there, Bruce?
Yeah. I was just placing some stuff. So yeah, like you were saying, where did you end?
Ruthven.
That doesn't
Ruthven
help.
supposedly stole the report. So the Cotter study took place in 1928 and didn't just survive building a bridge there. That's where I left off.
I am so lost.
I got a printed copy of it.
Yeah.
You good? Are you?
Here we go. No. So, in the absence of a report, the commission approved the site. The report purportedly was mailed back to the highway commission 20 years later.
Holy shit!
So yeah, and there's no actual proof or disproof that happened. It's just kind of like a tall tale of interesting stuff like that. The Marsh Engineering Company in Des Moines, Iowa, designed the bridge with its patented rainbow arch. Frank Marsh came to Cotter in May of 1929 to survey the area where the bridge would be constructed. Bids were made for construction and one was accepted. All were later rejected when plans changed, starting the process again. The final contract went to Bateman Construction Company of Nashville, Tennessee. So yet again, the bridge making was foiled. What's that? Twice now? 3 times?
I think 3. Yeah.
This bridge, this classic bridge, we'll get into the pictures in a minute because I've got a lot of older pictures from when it was first being built. Construction began on the bridge in November of 1929 and was completed by November 1st of 1930. The bridge was dedicated with a large celebration on November 11th, but locals continue to use the ferry for some time afterwards. It is the only bridge designed by that company to be built in the state. Built at a cost of $500,000, the bridge was finished 6 months ahead of schedule using local labor for the construction. During the construction, there were only 2 deaths that were reported from 2 separate accidents. So let me start off with a
Yeah, see, back in the day, back in that time frame, though, it was not unheard of for multiple people to die during construction.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So here's a construction. This was shortly after they broke ground, building the bridge. And here's another one that they show that you can see. You can see some construction going on there. The bridge is kind of, or the river is kind of off to the left center of the picture. You can see the reflections on the water. So yeah, let's see here. Completed in 1930, the R.M. Ruthven Bridge, originally named and often still called the Cotter Bridge, is located near Cotter in Baxter County. Excuse me. On the business route of U.S. Highway 62. It crosses the White River between Baxter and Marion counties, and upon its completion, the bridge was dedicated on November 11th and 12th in a ceremony attended by over 6,000 visitors from 7 of the 9 states traversed by Highway 62. So the bridge was completed in 1930, and in July of 1931, the state paid Joe McCracken $250 to destroy his ferry, and bridge traffic increased. So for all these years, people were used to, loading up on the ferry and getting taken across the river. And roughly less than a full year after it was completed, they told old Mr. McCracken to, here's $250. And back then, 250 was a lot of cash. Here's $250. Destroy your ferry.
Yeah, I mean that right there is interesting in its own fact. It's almost like corporate, like, hey, we want to make more money, so you stop doing stuff.
Yeah. So here's other pictures of it as it's being created. There's the middle section or close to the middle section of the rainbow arches going up. More skeletal remains of the skeletal remains. Skeletal
pictures of it's still there.
Yeah. So this is a plaque that is set up on at the base of the front of the bridge. Just basically saying that it's the R.M. Ruthven Bridge and dedications and stuff like that. Come on. Oh, my computer's crap in the bed. I can't share. Okay, here we go. So this right here is a picture that was taken in the 30s and the 40s, shortly after the bridge had been around for a while. But this is looking from Baxter County and it goes into Marion County, and then of course it shows the White River there.
That's just genuinely. I don't care what anybody says. That looks creepy to me.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But then you fast forward a little bit, and so here's an updated picture, similar to the last picture I showed you, and that's just looking over the bridge. So yeah, like my wife is definitely afraid of big structured bridges like that.
Yeah.
And it's just it just spans so much. That's the bridge there, taken a couple of years back, and right behind that is the old railroad bridge. And there's some interesting folklore about that, or local legends about that. Here's another of the railroad bridge, and then behind it shows the rainbow arches of the Cotter Bridge.
Yeah. That's pretty neat though, the way they built that. I don't know. I always like the arch look like that.
Oh yeah, it's super cool. So a toll bridge. It was a toll bridge at first, and residents had to be threatened with retracted funding to use the bridge as they continue to use the free ferry crossing to avoid paying the toll. Yeah. So this bridge. I can't remember if I've got it in my notes or not, but this bridge, it was a weird toll bridge. So it was in the contract to build the bridge. It was only a toll bridge until it got paid off. So until the toll bridge made the money back that it cost to build it, it was a toll bridge. And once it made that money back, it became a free bridge. They didn't mention that once it was finished, because they wanted people to cross using the toll bridge. In 1938, when Carl Bailey, former Cotter resident and Missouri Pacific conductor, was elected governor, one of his first acts was to repeal the tolls because residents continued to argue the toll since the bridge was the only way in and out of Cotter. The April 6th, 1938 Mountain Echo newspaper read, Governor signs toll bridge bill. The article details the signing of the bill abolishing the toll bridge, and the final paragraph mentions the Cotter Bridge and many local people that took advantage of this fact to drive across the bridge last Sunday. Recognizable for its rainbow arches, it was the first landmark in Arkansas to become a National Historic Civil Engineering Landmark, and is one of only a small number of bridges designated as such. On December 31st, 1976, the bridge was officially renamed the R.M. Ruthven Bridge, and it was dedicated as a National Historic Civil Engineering Landmark. October 18th, 1986, it was placed on the National Registry of Historic Places in 1990. A four-lane bridge was opened north of Cotter for U.S. Highway 62 412. It was supposed to replace the Cotter Bridge, but locals protested it and saved it. It was renovated and reopened in 2004. Now, getting to that that railroad bridge we were discussing.
Yeah.
Here's a picture of it from the bank. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. The railroad bridge lays around 400 to 500 yards from the rainbow arches of the Cotter Bridge. It was built in 1905 by an unknown contractor. The bridge spans 285 feet across the White River and connects counties Baxter and Marion. The structure length is a little over 1,000 feet. Type of structure is known as metal rivet connection Pratt through truss, has roughly 15 fixed concrete pillars stretching across the White River. That's a big ass bridge for railroad, y'all, for railroad and everything like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And those those concrete pillars, they have to hold up a lot of weight. So
yeah. The bridge is unusual though because it is built fairly high above the normal water level for a swing bridge. Most boats would be able to fit under the bridge with ease. Today, the bridge is even more unusual because trees grow under one of the swing span arms, with shallow water under the other. It's clear that the river has not been able to be used by boats in a very long time. So, now that we have given you a little bit of the backstory on the bridge themselves, let's get into some of the notable accidents.
Right. So real quick, yeah, this is just like a timeline. 1929, the Cotter Bridge is built. 1930, Cotter Bridge is the dedication of the Cotter Bridge. Gosh dang.
Yeah,
dogs.
Mark, it is still active. Oh,
yeah, for sure.
Bridge? The railroad
yeah.
bridge.
Yeah, the railroad bridge is still active. Okay. There's actually, and I wanna kind of stress this, that there hasn't been a whole lot of quantifiable paranormal activity. The Cotter Bridge has turned into something of a local legend or an urban legend over the years.
Once we got to digging into it, then that's why this episode probably will not be as long, because we realized it wasn't as much in depth to it as
but we had already got the graphics, and we already got the information research. So we're just like, look, let's just do it. We're coming close to the end of season 1 anyway, so these little urban legends and smaller shows are going to be a bit of a normal thing up until the season finale, because that's gonna be crazy big. So some notable accidents and incidences. Two workers, like I had said earlier, Cliff Williams and John Harley. They were killed in separate accidents during the bridge's construction. Um, there was an accident in July 7th of 2018 where a pedestrian's leg was severed on the Cotter Bridge in a freak accident involving an 18-wheeler's trailer that had gotten loose from a truck.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. This guy, horrible luck. This guy was just walking, and the next thing he knows, a trailer's barreling at him, and he loses a leg. December 14th of 2018, a police vehicle was struck on the Cotter Bridge after the officer performed a U-turn to help a broke-down motorist. Minor injuries were reported, and I included that one because any kind of accident or incident, especially happening on the bridge, it seems like that would be some kind of a noted incident, and then shortly after the police officer's vehicle was struck, January 13th, 2019, there was a multi-vehicle car crash on Cotter Bridge. No fatalities or injuries were noted, and I couldn't find anybody that like any eyewitness reports or any reports from people that were like, oh my God, I saw a crazy, scary ghost dog and I just veered into oncoming traffic. Nothing like that, but just strange happenings. Like
there weren't any actual like reports of like, like typically, on bridges and stuff, when you get stuff like this, like people jumping off the bridge or stuff like that. I really didn't find anything about any of that either.
So yeah, and some of the local legends from people living in Cotter and around the area. So over the years, since the ground was first broken in Cotter.
Now we get into the good stuff.
Yeah. And the Cotter Bridge and the surrounding area, stories of spectral encounters have popped up here and there. One such story tells of a spectral woman being chased by what was described as hellhounds or phantom dogs. Another story tells of some undead children at play, some laughter and some rocks being thrown. Also of an invisible footfalls and a crying baby have also been alleged to have been heard. Now, while I was researching this, and I had there was a podcast that I'd listened to, and it was like a good 45-minute to an hour podcast, which I like them long because it gives me something to focus on for an hour at a time at least. So this podcast, it's called the podcast is called "I Want to Party with Bob." And the episode was, I believe it was episode 81 of I Want to Party with Bob, Haunted Arkansas. So this podcast guy, the guy who was hosting the podcast, he told this story for like 45 minutes straight, and it was so in depth and so much detail. I was starting to, I was actually starting to get annoyed because all the detail that he was putting in. When I was doing my research, I couldn't find anything on it at all. So I was getting really upset. And then I continued listening to the podcast. And then like right as soon as he was done telling the story, he was pretty much like, oh, that was real interesting. I completely made it up. And I'm like, you piece of crap.
Mark, we do have some sightings that we're going to talk about. It's not Mothman type stuff.
Oh no, I wish it was something even close to that. So, a man named Dominique gave this account.
You skipped number one.
Wow, look at that! I did. Tales are told to this day of a tall, shadowy figure of a man standing on the bridge that follows you if you dare to walk across the Cotter Bridge at night. And others claim to see a woman in white being chased by phantom dogs as my dogs bark. Stop it! You're gonna give me nightmares. While others say they can
you get enough of those when you look in the mirror.
right. Others say they can hear a baby cry under the bridge on cold October nights.
So
now,
that makes me wonder, like talking about the woman woman in white being chased by hellhounds, the tall, slender, dark figure, and then a baby crying under the bridge. To me, that almost feels like an intertwining thing, you know.
Yeah,
and that bridge.
And those three different situations, the tall shadowy figure, the woman in white being chased, the baby crying. I'm as I was doing this research, I had seen those, sort of eyewitness, if I would call them eyewitness accounts, local legends, so to speak. Yeah. And when I was listening to the in depth story from the "I Want to Party with Bob" podcast, or if that's what, I can't remember if that was what it's called or not. Yeah, "I Want to Party with Bob" podcast. When I was listening to that, that's why at first it made sense, because he kind of embellished a lot and used those points in the different sightings to add to his story. So that's why it sounded so real.
But it's almost like, to me, and this is me chasing a rabbit here on this whole deal, is like you had the woman in white, the baby crying. Okay, so the woman in white is the reason this baby is, the ghost baby is crying. I ain't gonna say the words out loud on it. The baby is unalive because of her, and the tall shadow figure has sicked his phantom dogs on this woman for her eternal punishment.
Maybe. Well, maybe that would be a really good story. Or maybe the maybe the dogs were chasing I don't know. I just don't know.
I just like chasing that little rabbit right there. Like,
hey, don't get me wrong.
Dots here.
Don't get me wrong. That's super cool, and that's exactly what that made up story did. They connected all of those dots, and they pretty much tied a nice nifty bow around it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I will research this, and I will give this information. And then he was like, yeah, totally made it up, you dicks. It was great. And I'm like, what a crackhead.
I'd love to dig into like missing persons reports around that.
Oh yeah, oh absolutely. Maybe some surprising stuff. So the next sighting, a man named Dominic, he gave this account. He said in 2019 he was homeless during the summer months, and he camped under the Cotter Bridge while waiting for nightfall. He was hanging out with some local kids in the area that were down by the river and at the spring. The next thing he knew, he hears a female voice screaming and then a loud splash. It was so loud but faint at the same time. Dominique and I'm going to assume they're all teenagers if they're hanging down under a bridge,
right?
Living in a van down by the river. They all rushed to the riverside and tried to locate the woman that they thought was in distress. No body was found. He said he directed some of the kids to drive their trucks up to the bridge and see if they could spot anyone, looking down. What I'm saying is they drove the vehicles up to the top to the bridge and then looked over to see if, they could spot anybody. There wasn't anyone. What was weird is his mother had said when she was younger, she told him and his sister that there was always a monster at the end of the bridge. So I'm wondering which end of the bridge, like the end as you're walking on it, or the end as you're as you're looking back. And
I'm
from what
sure,
and from what direction?
Yeah, I'm sure, from typical bridge sighting and stuff like that, it's definitely going to be on the opposite end of whichever end you're on stuff like
Yeah.
that. So.
Yeah. Sorry.
You're good. You're good. Oh, I'm just moving back and forth because this freaking nerve still won't loosen up. And I'm noticing a trend here is all of these sightings and whatnot we found have been like pretty recent actually.
Yeah, it's almost like after the bridge had been made for all these years, whatever it was or whoever it was or whatever's going on just kind of chilled and watched society build around it.
Yeah.
So
another thing, you don't get a whole lot of those nowadays.
No,
the more recent ones, especially in the day and age of digital media. With phones, everybody got phones and stuff. You don't see a whole lot of this anymore. So
no. Well, I think the age of the eyewitness has kind of went to the side now that there's an eye everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
If you ain't got video, it didn't happen.
Right. So another person stated that on December 26th of 2020, they were walking the bridge with a friend, and they saw a white figure jump off the bridge right in front of them. They also seemed to float down before disappearing into thin air. They went to the park and they go to the park and sit. While there, they immediately proceed to get pelted by rocks from, they said, mysterious child figure on the bridge. While he goes back up to the bridge later, he feels calm, it's cool, and a little foggy, and all of a sudden he gets the urge to run like he's in danger. Runs to his car and locks the doors. Immediately doing this, there's a blood-curdling scream, which from what they said, rocked them to their core. They drove out of there so fast that you couldn't see the wheels spinning, and they never plan to go back. Yeah, I even put that in here. So on episode 81 of the podcast, I Want to Party with Bob, there's an interesting story that is told, and I won't lie, I was sucked in until the very end when it was revealed that the story was completely fabricated. I was I was really, really upset. Like I said, if you get a chance, just whatever podcatcher you listen to, or that you are a part of, or that you go to listen to podcasts, look for I Want to Party with Bob, episode 81, Haunted Arkansas. And
Mark asked this, anything newspaper wise about a woman jumping off a bridge?
No, none that I found. And that's the thing. Like the only death that I can actually attribute around the Cotter Bridge was the two accidents that happened during its construction. But and I'm really surprised that there weren't a lot more, or that a lot more weren't reported.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is we know what was reported. We don't know what wasn't reported.
Yeah, well, and the bridge was built utilizing local talent, so to speak, local construction. So you would think if somebody had died or somebody had went missing, there would be more of a paper trail. Like, Fred went to work the other night, and
especially in a small town like that, where everybody knows everybody.
Yeah. You're definitely gonna miss seeing Mike at the coffee shop in the morning, getting ready to go to work, or clocking in at the time clock.
But that's not saying that it could have just been a random person that.
Yeah.
Hey, it's my time.
Yeah, for sure. And with any big, with any big bridge like that, there's like you said earlier, there's always stories and tales of What's going on, Draco? There's always stories of people committing suicide or people being thrown from the bridge or accidentally falling off the bridge.
Yeah.
I shared the I shared the accidents that were on the bridge almost as a way to anytime that there's any death or anytime that there's any kind of supernatural thing, there's always going to be fractures in the normal activity of things. And sometimes we as human beings, they kind of trip on those cracks in the supernatural barriers and end up, that's very interesting, Mark. I really don't know. I couldn't for the life of me. I couldn't find a lot of meat.
There's not a lot of lore to this, other than a few sightings. But go ahead.
No, you're cool. So to get there, if you want to go visit this place, and I would suggest it because Cotter may be a small town, but every small town in Arkansas usually has some pretty interesting sights to see, so to speak. So to get there from the west, you'll take a right off U.S. Highway 62, which is also 412, just east of Flippin. From the east, it's a left-hand turn onto US 62B, right before you get to the White River, right on the west side of Gassville. There's a lookout point on the Gassville side where you can see both the Cotter Bridge and Missouri Pacific Railroad Bridge next to it, the Mopac Bridge. And I shared a picture. I believe this picture here is actually from the lookout. I believe it's this one here.
Oh, okay.
I could be 100% wrong, but I mean, it said that it was from the Gassville. Looking at the Mopac Railroad with the Cotter Bridge in the background. So I just assumed it was that one. But yeah, that's another. These are all aerial photos, but you could see how far to the ground that bridge is, and it looks like it would be fairly easy to walk up one of those archways if you were looking for maximum height to unalive yourself. Yeah. Well, look, there is a suggestion box. I'm just saying. So we will definitely take that into consideration.
The only problem is that's probably about a 4 or 5 hour drive for me.
Oh well, I mean, if you look at this map, like that's about the same distance for me. I'm in Northeast Arkansas, and you're about what Northwest?
I'm kind of central.
Kind of central. Okay,
I'm
so yeah,
right between Fort Smith and Little Rock.
Okay. So yeah, you're So our distances would be similar.
Yeah.
But I mean, still, yeah, that'd be a long drive. So yeah, we'd definitely have to meet up somewhere and. But that's yeah, I completely understand that. So we had discussed that this was going to be a shorter episode.
We actually pretty.
Yeah, we've done a pretty decent time. Final thoughts. Me personally, I honestly believe that this is just a local legend, and it's just local folklore. Maybe started to drum up tourism in some instances. Maybe just a way for a small town to keep the history of itself alive. And even then, it also could be just a high school ghost story, like the seniors tell the underclassmen, like Cotter Bridge is haunted. You didn't know. Well, it is.
Right.
He said, she said, friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, kind of thing. And But I mean, other than that, like the history of the place is pretty wild. Like for back then, like to have a judge hide a report and just so they can get a bridge built in their town, and then 20 years later, after the statute of limitations was up, send that report back like, ha,
Right, what are they gonna do? Tear it down?
Yeah, this bridge has sat here for 20 plus years. You're not gonna tear it down.
Well, personally, I look at the sightings, and the common denominator for me is the woman in white.
Yeah, on every single sighting that we saw, or that I researched, there was a woman in white. So I'm not saying it's like any kind of La Llorona kind of thing, or I probably butchered that. But you know what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't suggest it was something like that. But I mean, there definitely could be a woman in white that haunts that area.
Right, and that's the thing. Like I said, that first sighting with I expressed my opinion on that. With the woman in white, hearing the baby cry, seeing the tall man and then the phantom dogs and all like that. I feel like that is literally a story in itself, right there. There definitely had to be something that happened to cause that, and I feel like the woman in white's eternal punishment is either being chased by the phantom dogs or having to relive that jump.
Yeah. I mean that definitely could be a thing. I actually just remembered what I was thinking. Like maybe the woman in white and the baby crying. Maybe the tall man, so to speak. Maybe he sicked his hellhounds on the woman in white who was carrying the baby, and the only release, or the only way to escape them was to jump over the bridge. I mean, I don't know. There's any number of things and situations that could happen. But
there's
I mean,
a lot of conclusions that you can jump to.
It's kind of interesting to.
I said jump.
It's kind of interesting to think about, and if anything, it just brings some awareness to a small town that has a pretty cool bridge in it.
Yeah.
So if you're out there, man, go check it out. Take some pictures, send them our way. Let us know if you walked over the bridge at night and anything spooky happened, or.
And if you are watching this after the fact, we appreciate you as well.
Oh, absolutely.
But if you know of any other haunted Arkansas areas, because like right now we're concentrating on Arkansas since that's where we live. If you know of any haunted Arkansas areas that we can dig into, let us know. Shoot one of us a message. And see what we can do to try to expand this season a little bit.
Yeah. As always, like, share, follow, subscribe, share with your buddies, share with your friends, share with your family.
We're gonna decide to go farther.
I don't know. I didn't. I like I said, I wasn't able to find anything. I wasn't able to find anything but the recent I guess eyewitness statements.
Yeah, because it's just since like 2018.
Yeah. So I don't know if there were. You know how it is. If there's something spooky going on, a lot of people don't like to. A lot of professional people don't like to talk about it because they may feel like people will look at them kind of sideways, like, "Oh, you believe in ghosts, you silly bastard."
Well, I think we went close to an hour here, so I think we're good for tonight. So.
Oh yeah. To start, I was getting kind of worried we wouldn't make. We wouldn't make it. It'd be a real short episode, 20
minutes.
Right. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about this episode. I know there wasn't really a lot of meat on the bones, but Heck yeah, they're real. What do you think's driving your meat suit? It's crazy to think. It's crazy to think that we aren't this body. We're a electrical spark in our brains.
Shit, I think my electric bill did get paid. And with that being said, like I said, subscribe to all our stuff. Follow us, shoot us ideas, and make sure you share stuff. And tune in tomorrow night. Special Dummies Unit. I think it's episode 35.
Night 3 of the Halloween extravaganza.
We might even try to pretend to dress up.
I'm totally dressing up. If y'all guys saw me last night, I mean, I'm not gonna go completely crazy. I wore a Wolfman mask tonight. Draven was the crow king of the crows. Crow.
Oh wait. Oh, I got one. I forgot I had
that. But yeah, I said last night, if y'all guys, I know it was Halloween, so and right now, like tonight's the 1st of November and tomorrow's the 2nd, but we're gonna stretch this Halloween season all the way into Christmas. So
right, we're gonna keep it going as best.
We're gonna keep it going as best we can.
But again, tune in
bones and caffeine.
Yeah. Tune in tomorrow night for SDU, and we'll have Fred on here again. I think Roland's supposed to be on here as usual. And you never know what else we're going to do. I mean, I might even actually put a heater in here so I can be warmish.
Oh, right on.
Everybody, have a good night.